be water, my friend.
And so it will. Mr. Bruce. Welcome to Insane Builds, the series of which I talk about builds that I personally find insane due to it being incredible in one way or another. If you're a bow enthusiast, you might have seen that some people do incredible speedruns with bow using exactly these types of builds. And depending on the monster's weakness, you build up a set to suit your needs. I'm Tio, and in this one I'm gonna talk about a couple of elemental bow builds, and more specifically the element of water. And now, since we regularly seem to get the monster Kulve Taroth as an event in the social hub, if you're lucky, you can get your hands on a couple of really decent bows to use. And in this video, I'll showcase a couple of builds using Kulve Taroth's bow and armor, which gives us the maximum potential as it stands right now with no G rank, as well as a couple of different builds around that. And in case you don't have access to Kulve Taroth's equipment whilst watching this video, I'll give you an alternative around that doesn't require anything from Kulve Taroth. Starting off with the one I'm currently using and I'm having the most fun with when it comes to the water element, which again requires that sweet bling that Kulve Taroth has to offer. The Taroth Arrow Water. With an entire 510 water damage all the way maxed out and already a pretty high attack base damage. A 3 slot for decoration and some armor in terms of defense bonus, if you care about that at all. It does, however, lack the power coating, which I'm incredibly sad about, but that just means you gotta stay close and cuddly with the monster at all times. Which of course, I'm not opposed to. Hashtag don't send Pete at me. It's just a game, bruh. So anyways, let's jump into the build and take a look at what we're dealing with here. In other words, the stats. Starting off, as always, with pretty much every decent elemental bow build that I've seen, Rathalos Mastery 2, Critical Element. Which of course comes from 2 pieces of Rathalos equipment, whether it's normal Rathalos, Azure Rathalos, or Azure Starlord, or any other type of Rathalos coming up in the near future. G-Rank. Silver Rathalos, where you at, man? They all help out getting the set piece bonus, even if you combine the different types. This stat of course helps out giving elemental centered builds an extra increase in damage on critical hits, which of course is what you're gonna do and do a lot of with this build. Moving on to an entire +4 water attack, which by the way also is the max as it stops out on 510 water damage. Check the orange number for reference. You really want more, you greedy water thirsty piece of a desert. Hashtag water poisoning is a thing. And can't go any higher for those wondering why I'm not reaching for the stars at +5 water attack. And since this bow is just a shiny piece of wood without unlocking the hidden element on it, we had to do that with a free element level 3. 3 in weakness exploit for all them crits, 3 in constitution to reduce the amount of stamina used when doing certain activities, +2 in attack, or +4 to get affinity and some extra damage if you remove 1 water attack jewel, add 1 jewel slot to the bow itself by augments, and use 4 pieces of attack jewels. Normal shots increasing, you know, normal shots. Spread/power shots to spread that incredible shot. Is a shot. Critical boost level 1. 1 in handicraft because we still want to stab those monsters and still have some sharpness to... No? Okay, yeah, we used that joke in the last video, sorry. And then of course the bow charge plus, which lets you get 1 more shot into your combos. Now, to the equipment. And no, I'm not showing you that. That's for private happy fun times. So I'll show you the armor of my character instead. So, the Bling Bling, also known as the weapon, the Taroth Arrow Water, which of course has what I mentioned earlier, which already just makes it a great bow by itself, but you can also augment it, and in it I recommend either attack, affinity, or health recovery. Or, if you want to build a middle ground type of build where you get a little bit of everything but the health recovery, you can go with a gem slot as that boosts you up to +4 attack, providing that you have 4 pieces of attack jewels, of course. Which of course gives more damage and more crit chance in terms of stat. But that's entirely up to you. I personally feel like affinity is a good one for me because I don't want to lower my water attack by 20, which is what happens when you remove 1 water attack jewel in favor for a little more flat damage and affinity, but who knows, it might be better. I don't have the augments as of making this video though, so I can't do anything about anything in that regard, so screw me, am I right? Anywho, we slot a jewel into the slot we have, and that slot will contain the 4th shot jewel. To move on without talking too much about this weapon. And what we move on to is of course the head, which is a Wrath Soul Helm B with crit boost level 1 and a couple of attack jewels. The chest is a Rathalos Mail B with +2 in weakness exploit with a water attack jewel. And the glums, as I managed to call it in the last video, we have the Caesar's Vambraces B with +1 weakness exploit and a mighty bow jewel. Leggings consists of the Kulve Taroth Malice B with level 1 free element and a handicraft stat, which you can just blatantly ignore, with a spread shot jewel and a water attack jewel. And then we have the oh so glam looking feet. the Kirin Legards B with free element level 2 and a couple of water attack jewels. And at last we go for the Fitness Charm 3, which has +3 in Constitution. And that's it for my personal build, but I'm gonna show you another one which is really good as well, and I've seen a couple of speedrunners use and seem to prefer over the one I just showed you. So if you don't want to see that or the next build which involves no Kulve Taroth equipment at all, you can always skip to this timestamp shown on the screen. There I will go over the combo you can do for the most DPS with a elemental bow build. As you can see here, it is a lot like the build I just showed you, but there's two key differences here. And that is the Constitution being at level 1 instead of 3 as it was in the last build, and you have the Mind's Eye / Ballistics Jewel, which I would understand using on a bow with power coating, as that's where I feel like it matters the most. Then again, I haven't done the math and tested it exquisitely, so for this bow, I don't know, I don't think it's a big improvement as you stand inside a monster's nose hole at all times while bursting them down with the close range coating, and that's pretty much all you have to do for the max damage with the close range coating, as there is no drop off unless you're too far away, where the Mind's Eye specifically says shortens the distance before ammo and arrows reach maximum power, where again, the close range doesn't have any drop off at close ranges, where the power coating does. But who knows? Who knows? Let me know who knows in the comments below. But then again, that's a very, very viable thing to do for the other bow which I showcased in the last video, where it's practically the same bow but less elemental damage and also another element, more crit, and the beautiful power coating, which again, this bow doesn't have, unfortunately, unless, you know, everything I said about the close range coating is complete bogus, and I've been wrong with that statement and everything else I've done throughout the entirety of my life, which of course is a complete probability, but you know, tomatoes, tomatoes, whatever. However, the weapon and the head is the same as before, except that we changed out the attack jewels in the head with water attack jewels, and the bow now has a Mind's Eye jewel. Otherwise, we have changed out the chest, which now is a Wrath Soul Male B with free element level 1 and a 2 slot for a Constitution jewel. Or, if you don't have that, a crit boost jewel. And then the gloves, which now is the Kulve Taroth's Rage B with free element level 1 and a power prolonger skill, which in this case is as useless as the Handicraft skill on the other set, and into it we have a Tenderizer and a water attack jewel. As for the legs, they are still the same as before, but we have a spread shot or a force shot jewel, depending on which one you might be lacking. I have both, but went for the force shot here because next up's the feet, which is the Lavasiel's Greaves B, which of course gives spread shot and has both more armor and fire resistance than the Diablo Nero B, which by the way is what you change out if you have the force shot jewel but not the spread shot jewel, as that just switches out the stats you don't have. And in them we have the Mighty Bow jewel. And for the charm we have the Exploiter Charm 2, which gives +2 in weakness exploit. And again, this is what I've seen some speedrunners use to get some really incredible numbers on their runs, but again, with only close range coating and no power coating on a bow, I don't believe this one to be the better option. Nothing against it on the Taroth Arrow Thunder, of course. Now, for the people who haven't fought Kulve Taroth and don't have her equipment, or haven't got the bow to drop yet, there's still hope for you, because this bow is actually really good. And it's not a huge loss, as this wasn't made up before Kulve Taroth came to be and twisted our nerps into thinking about that sweet, sweet bling bling, and getting even better results than the last meta was. And here's the stats to quickly go over them. Attack +4, +3 water attack, go apeshit on the free element and weakness exploit, Constitution +3, normal shots or critical boost +1, spread / power shot, as well as a bow charge plus. And of course, the Rathalos Mastery. Anywho, our weapon of choice is again a weapon with a hidden element, and this weapon is the Hunter's Proudbow 2. This one has a maximum of 470 water attack, but we stop it at 460 because we couldn't fit any more water attack jewels into it. And neither would we want to, as I could do the stretch for +20, but 10? What the fuck are you on about? And it also has decent base damage, and it's a little bit of defense bonus as well. This bow, just like the other, does not have power coating, and what the fuck is with the hidden water element bows and no freaking power coating? Freaking Kulve Taroth's Thunder gets it, but the swimmers and all-time beachgoers doesn't get shit. What is this, Capcom? Get real here. We want some power coatings too. How else are we gonna impress the ladies? Or, you know, fellas, if you're into that. Still a great bow though, still a great bow. So, for the augments, if you're gonna augment it at all, I'd go with a duplet of gem slot augments, as that gives a little bit more potential than it already has, as we now get both the spread shot and the normal shot jewel into this set. So when it comes to slotting gems into it, a spread shot jewel and a mighty bow jewel. Or if you don't have the augments on it, at least go with a spread shot jewel here. Next up is the Rathalos Helm B with +2 attack and a water attack jewel. The chest is a Wrath Soul Mail B with free element level 1 and a tenderizer or exploit jewel. The gloves are the Caesar Vambraces B with +1 weakness exploit, and into them you slot the force shot jewel. And if you don't have it, don't worry, you can always go with a crit boost jewel instead. Or, you know, if you didn't augment the bow, you'll definitely go with a mighty bow jewel here. Scratch the critical boost remark and get this thing into it pronto, because you will never want a crit boost jewel instead of a mighty bow jewel in this build. Yoink! See what I did there? Almost gave you ammunition. Trolls. Anywho, legs comes out as the Nergigante Coil B with +2 attack and a tenderizer jewel. Feats the Kirin Legguards B again with a couple of water attack jewels. And last but not least, Fitness Charm 3 for the good old Constitution of America. Wait. What? Don't know what just happened. So, where were we? Oh yeah, usually this is where I show you how to play, but I don't want to repeat myself too much by putting in the exact same thing here as I did in the last video. So if you want to know basic stuff about how to play with this build, I recommend you go over to the timestamp 637 in the video Elemental Crit Build for Bow Thunder, which I hopefully have been able to put a card up for here right now. And if not, or it doesn't work for you, then there's always the links for it in the description and at the cards at the end of this video. Anywho, what I can cover in this one is the one thing I didn't cover in that video. What I didn't show or tell you guys is how to do the most damage consecutively, killing the monsters as fast as you can, which is quite easy, but in the last video I pretty much only said that you can't do what I'm about to show you now, which is obvious to some, but for those it isn't obvious to. Combo you do is circle, circle, be on Xbox, which is the first and the second charge, R2, R1 on Xbox, third charge, circle again, fourth charge, and then wait a little. Just a tiny little moment. This makes you able to go into the exact same combo again without using Arc Shot, Falling Rocks, Raining Rocks, or whatever you'll call it, as when you're at charge 4 with circle, you can't really do anything else than Arc Shot, or go back to starting of a new combo with R2, which is just one puny little arrow doing pretty much no damage at all. Instead, you go for 3 arrows first charge, 3 arrows second charge, which by the way is very closely put together compared to any other sequence in a combo with a bow. 3 arrows third charge, then 6 arrows at charge 4, which puts it all together with a 15 arrow combo with 4 simple rapid shots, assuming you hit with all, that is. And I did some testing on the log, and with that I figured if you're so completely unlucky that none of your 15 hits does crit through a combo with the first build, you get an astonishing 510 damage in 4 rapid successional hits. And if you manage to crit all of the 15 arrows, you get a whopping 657 damage. And as for the non-Kulf Taroth set with both spread shot and force shot included, you get the numbers 447 damage no crits to a 621 damage all crits in the same combo. All of this, of course, without any attack boosters like Demon Drug, Seeds, Powder, and Evasion Cloak. As well as we don't take the log's weakness into account, as I believe it doesn't have any. You sturdy bastard. Could be more, could be less, depending on what part of the monster you're hitting and its body part's weakness towards said element. This spammed over and over into a monster's weak spot easily takes out a 15,000 health monster in no time, assuming you're as monster as the monster you're fighting at dodging. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it here, and if you want to check out any other insane builds, I'll leave some cards at the end of the video, and I'll fill up the description with different weapons or set builds for the bow and other weapons if you're interested in that. More elemental bow builds will be coming, so just be on the lookout for that, and subscribe if you want to get on that video as soon as it comes up. Other than that, I still have a Let's Play and other channel that I upload to weekly, but for now, I hope you liked the video, and if you did or it helped out in one way or another, a thumbs up would help out tremendously, as it boosts the algorithm and so on to get videos up there in the search results and so on and so forth. Otherwise, I hope you have a great hunt, and until next time, so long.